Welcome back, nerds. Let's be nerdy here, and whoo, boy, do we need to talk about this episode. This is going to be my full, almost scene-by-scene breakdown of the Wheel of Time, Season 3, Episode 8, the season finale. I'm going to be talking about things that relate to the books, just my general thoughts about all of the scenes that I bring up, and we are diving deep. So there are going to be major spoilers through to the end of the series, the very, very end of the book series. So if you haven't read the books, this is as much of a spoiler warning as I can give you. Full book spoilers. Now, before we start, my general philosophy with adaptations, different doesn't automatically mean bad. When the show changes something from the books, I try to understand why, because I'm assuming that the writers know where the story is going, and maybe it's a more efficient route. Maybe it works better for TV. Maybe they're just trolling us. I doubt that, but I don't mind changes. They keep me on my toes. They help me theorize like I did with the books. And sometimes they even improve things. Shh, don't tell anybody I said that. But this episode, okay. This episode left me with a lot of feelings. And not the good kind, like, ooh, that was tragic storytelling. More like, why does my soul feel like a deflated balloon? Why do I feel less excited about the show? Like, when I edited my live reaction, I realized that I wasn't constantly miserable while watching it. There were moments that I loved, but by the end, the aftertaste was bitter. And that's weird for me, because, like, last episode, episode 7, had things in it that irritated me. Apparently there are people in the comments who thought I hated the episode. I didn't. When the credits rolled on episode 7, I was still buzzing. I was excited. The good stuff was what stuck. This time, the good stuff got buried under... Okay, well, we'll get there when we get there. As I break this down, though, I'm going to try and focus on how I felt in the moment and what was working for me as the story happened, what made me cheer, what made me gasp. But no promises, because those negative feelings, they're still lurking, and they're the ones that stuck around when the screen went dark. So, yeah. All right, with that out of the way, let's dive in.
Let's be nerdy with Let's Be Nerdy. Let's be nerdy with Let's Be Nerdy.
Okay, can we just appreciate how gorgeous every single establishing shot of Tar Valon is? The way the show has brought the city to life is stunning. I could watch an hour of just towers and bridges, no plot, just vibes. Okay, if you watched my live reaction, you might have seen me lose my mind for a second, because when I saw the years ago, like that popped up on screen, my brain somehow processed the words before the numbers, and I thought we were getting another Age of Legends cold open, but no. Okay, it's 10 years ago, not Age of Legends, just regular old Tar Valon politicking. Cool. Okay, this perfect Elaida characterization. Of course, she'd go poking around the Finn's doorway. This does not happen in the books. Even though she already has the foretelling, she's like that kid who gets a pony for Christmas but still raids their brother's stocking. Like, give me more power, more knowledge, more answers. And you can see the difference between her and Min here. Min is like, ugh, these visions are useless. I can't control any of it. But Elaida, her foretellings are rare, and she's desperate to weaponize them. She's the epitome of give an inch, take a mile. Also, I called it, her bracelets definitely come from the Finn, just like Matt's necklace. This is obviously setting something up for later seasons, like fingers crossed that we get them. And of course, I'm assuming, I don't think I show a close-up of the bracelet here, but there's a snake on it. So I'm pretty sure she has seen the snakes, and this actually might help me remember, because I never remember which one does which. Matt met the fox gives you what you want. So the snakes, I'm assuming, give answers. So she's gotten answers and has immediately misinterpreted them. That is classic Elaida. Now we are seeing the beginning of Elaida and Alviarin's, let's call it a partnership? It's fascinating to see their dynamic forming earlier than we do actually in the books. What's really interesting here is that how this seed, specifically, might explain why Alviarin doesn't vote for Elaida later in this episode. As a white Aja, she is seeing Elaida make reckless decisions and thinking, yeah, no, that's illogical as hell. And, of course, again, I said full spoilers. We know Alviarin is almost certainly already Black Aja at this point. There might even be orders from high on up, right, about how to handle Elaida here. She's not part of the plan yet. Okay, let's hold up here. Alviarin asks, what did I think Eelfin or Aelfin, I can't remember. I get that mixed up all the time. What did they promise you? Not what did they tell you? And I'm confused. Not like confused like the writer screwed up confused, but more like my lore-obsessed brain is short-circuiting confused. Like, in the books, we have two flavors of Finn, and I'm assuming we're getting that in the show. We get the snakes, these ones, I guess the Aelfin, I think she says, who give you 3 true answers to questions. And then the foxes, they grant you wishes, or as the show says, what you need. So, did Elaida ask questions and get answers, or did she wish for power? Like, she didn't go see the foxes. It's the word promise that throws me. If it's answers, then why didn't Alviarin say what did they tell you? But then Elaida would interpret you'll rule someday as like a binding contract from the universe, right? I'm assuming so. But, okay, the other thing I'm noting here, because I'm pretty sure that these are the snakes, there are 2 doors in the show. And I am thinking that we're going to see inside both doors. They've shown us the foxes. If we get future seasons, pretty sure they're going to show us the snakes as well. Okay, I know, this is me being a complete little shit. But look, railings. In this 10 years ago flashback, the hall has railings. In season 1, no railings. Now in season 3 again, the railings are back. And I know, this is just like a design quirk. I know it's not a continuity error, but if I pretend it is, there's a tragic timeline. Like in the past, safety first. And then sometime between 10 years ago and now, somebody was like, no, aesthetics over lives. And then, some point, they were like, wait, we've had 5 Aes Sedai yeet themselves out of the floor of the hall. Reinstall the damn railings. If you've watched my channel, you know I have thoughts about fantasy safety standards. People will be plummeting to their deaths daily in Tar Valon. The floors look like they're marble. One bad heel turn and splat. Swan's mopping up a new sister with a bucket. Anyway, sorry, I am being pedantic. I'm being stupid. Do not take this seriously. But, if you also noticed, you are my people. All right, book fans, shawl time! And if you're watching without reading the books, why? I gave you a spoiler warning, but whatever. Free will exists. Anyway, in the books, shawls, they're like fantasy power blazers. Like formal events, shawl. Want to flex your Aja dominance, shawl. And that Flame of Tar Valon emblem that you're seeing there in the books, that's on the back, which of course makes 0 sense for TV because you need to see that iconic flame front and center. And a quick PSA for, again, people who don't heed my warnings. In the books, Aes Sedai don't dress like they're in an Aja-themed cult 24/7. They prefer their Aja colors, but a blue could rock a green dress if she wanted. In fact, Elaida, the first time we meet her, she's wearing green. And it's whatever. But the show needs a visual shorthand, and so we've got sort of Aja color uniforms. I'm not showing it in this shot, but I just want to talk about the way the fringe looks on the shawl. In the book canon, the way it was described, these shawls are described, always gave me grandma's knitting basket vibes. But the show's version, I don't even know what to call it. I'm going to have to ask Pez what words we would use to describe those shawls, because there's something about it that kind of looks, I don't know, sleek? I don't know what to call it, but I don't know. I love this as a shawl design. I think it's fantastic. So the keeper here mentions that they need a new Amyrlin because, how did she pronounce it? Merith Jane, whatever, died after only 4 years. This is book canon. There was a string of very short-lived Amyrlins, or really served on the Amyrlin seat for a very short amount of time. And it's mostly assumed that the Black Aja were behind it. They knew the Dragon Reborn was out there, and they figured torturing Amyrlins might get some answers. Fun fact, though, I had to look up Merith Jane, I don't know how to pronounce her name, because I definitely forgot her name. But turns out she officially died of natural causes. But the Wheel of Time companion, calls her a stainless steel bitch who had Red sisters birched and exiled for participating in the vileness, which is, I've talked about before, that's when Reds were out like rogue gentling men without trials, and generally largely assumed that the Black Aja were behind that as well. So maybe not natural causes, maybe, whatever the Dark One's idea of natural would be. This actress playing the Keeper here, that is Rebecca Root. She's a trans actress from Britain, and I love this. Back before season 1 actually aired, I said that the show had to address trans identities because, hello, it is the time that it is. Like, it's 2025 now, it's 2021 when the show started, and a strict gender binary in the world just begs the question. Like, it's part of the magic system. It begs the question, where do trans and non-binary people fit in? And I know when I said that, there were people who rolled their eyes when like, oh, it's just Jenny being woke. And like, newsflash, I am woke, proudly. But this wasn't actually even about wokeness. It was about logic. If the show ignored it, the question would hang over the show like a weird smell. The best way to get past it, show it. And they did it here, perfectly. No big speech, just a trans woman existing as an Aes Sedai. No debate, no fuss. Mwah. Chef's kiss. This is perfect. All right, we've got people here to vote in a new Amyrlin. And yeah, we have some book to show changes here. And remember, that doesn't mean bad. It's just interesting. And in this case, it means better to me. Because in the books, before something like this, to confirm everyone present is a woman, you have to flash your tits, and somebody has to go around and stare at them and examine your tits. Yeah, whatever. It's so stupid. And I know, because there will be people in the comments, but it's tradition. He's pulling from ancient traditions. And no, it's dumb. Because in the canon of the books, this actually isn't canon in the show. In the show, that would actually make more sense. But in the books, women can literally, like Wibidu can sense the ability to channel Saidar in other women. Only women can channel Saidar. If you can sense Saidar in a woman, she's a woman. You don't have to do that. And if that's not enough for you, you could have them channel Saidar. Because again, only women can channel Saidar. There is literally no reason to have them flash their tits. Except for the fact that maybe Robert Jordan really wanted to write a scene where people stared at each other's tits. I don't know. The show wisely cuts that nonsense, and it's good riddance to dumb titillation. Pun absolutely intended. The other change is actually a bit more, I don't know, nuanced is the word? I don't know. Both Swan, though, and Elaida seem to have been actively campaigning to be Amyrlin. In the books, at least the ones that we see, it's more like you get ambush nominated. Like, just ask Egwene, Cadsuane. They get dragged in, completely unaware. Like, Egwene didn't even know why she was there. The words to summon you to be called to be raised in Amyrlin, I think, are the same as the words you get called to be banished or be punished or something. And once you're nominated, you can't refuse. It's like, you go there and then you win, and congrats, you're Amyrlin now, whether you wanted it or not. Or if you lose, it's like, okay, I guess you're a tower pariah. You can never come back because you will be a shame on this house. But this is interesting because this fits the show's version of Swan. Here she clearly wants the job because she sees it as her mission to prepare the tower for the dragon. Book Swan, I don't know that we actually ever get any inclination of how she got the job. Like, we know how people basically spotted her and kept her in the tower because they thought that she had a clever mind, but I don't know that she ever wanted to be Amyrlin. Look, it's Corinna Nagashi. She died in season 1, but hell, 10 years ago. It's a flashback. I love when shows bring back actors for prequel scenes like this. It makes the world feel lived in. Like, of course, these people existed before the plot started. It's the little things. Like, it's same face, same presence. The world is real. Okay, I only caught this on my 3rd rewatch because apparently I need to frame by frame the show like it's the Zapruder film. Swan there is looking at a sketch of Moraine, and then before she tucks it into her highly secure girlfriend box, I'll get to that in a minute, she glances at the booty call Tarangrial that she's got there, and it's like it's between those two shots, I'm pretty sure that's what this is. And first of all, adorable. There are no cameras in Tar Valon, so we are reduced to hand-drawn thirst traps, I suppose, like my love in charcoal. It's not even an oil painting, it's a quick doodle. I don't know. But okay, that box that I mentioned, that girlfriend box, in the books it is, how will I describe it? Like magically attuned only to Swan. So I'm assuming besides this quick doodle of her love, She's also probably got secret messages in there. And then when Elaida tried to open it in the books, I'm assuming this will happen in the show, it, boom. So the fact that she's using it to hide her Moraine fan art, it's iconic. Okay, so this scene makes it clear that Swan hasn't told Lyanna about Moraine, at all, which means Lyanna has no idea where Swan's intel comes from. And if she did know, she probably wouldn't trust it. We saw some animosity between Lyanna and Moraine last season. Now, this is book canon, sort of. Swan and Moraine aren't a couple by this point in the books. They were in the books. Their relationship kind of was reduced to Robert Jordan's wildly outdated take on queer women. His thought was, novices just scissor when there's no dick around. He literally calls it pillow friends. It's like a phase that you grow out of unless you're a bitter, man-hating villain. Cough, cough, Galena, cough, cough, Elaida, cough, 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 cough. The second they're raised, though, the good ones, like Swan here in the books, are like, well, time for dick now. It's done. But thankfully, the show ditched that, and here Swan and Moraine's relationship, I was going to say is real, was real. It's not some experimental phase. And so while the books, though, do have them hiding their close friendship for strategic reasons, the show gave us something better. An adult, queer, adult, actual romance. Lyanna gives Swan some solid advice here. Inspire the Hall and then put the vote to the Hall. And this is one of those uniquely frustrating moments when you're watching a book adaptation, knowing full well that whatever they try is doomed to fail, but still desperately hoping it might work just maybe this time. That's a credit to the show's writing and the acting, because even though my brain was screaming, this won't work, some naive, optimistic part of me was like, but maybe, spoiler, it doesn't. But, I fell for it anyway. Elaida is here with her two besties, Alviarin and Galena, here behind me. Surely the worst friend group since the Forsaken's last mixer. But, okay, seriously, the show has done something kind of brilliant here. In the books, the why behind Swan stilling and deposing always felt vague, oh, you kept secrets, stilling! But here it's crystal clear. Tower policy is to control the dragon. Swan's crime hid the dragon for 20 years and then let him loose. So punishment, it's cause and effect, not just because plot. And that makes Elaida's coup kind of land harder. She's not just power hungry, and she's not actually wrong about Swan. Nothing says I have crippling guilt like tenderly picking vegetables from a doomed child's garden. And yeah, pretty sure most book readers were like, that second that doomed child was on screen, we're like, oh, that child is doomed. But okay, I just wanted to talk about this scene because it's another instance, this has happened to me a couple of times with this show, where my book knowledge blinds me to the obvious. I get book goggles and they make it hard for me to see. It didn't occur to me until this scene that Egwene and Rand in the show are on horrible terms. I was completely blinded to this because in the books, they have the most amicable breakup in all of literature. Egwene just basically shows up and goes, hey, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to, smush you anymore. But look, that's Elayne. She's hot, right? Here's your new girlfriend. You kiss her now. And then she leaves. It's so chill, so polite. It's practically Canadian. But in the show, oh, no. Rand cheated on Egwene with Satan's top lieutenant, or as the show would say, Satan's top lieutenant. And he knew she was evil the entire time. Bro, it's complicated, does not begin to cover it. And so, yeah, no wonder Egwene's side-eyeing him like he's a Trolloc in a wig. It's messy. It's different. And I'm here for it because I don't know how it's going to go. Okay, there's an interesting, lore tweak here. Because in the books, tying off weaves is known. It's basic Aes Sedai knowledge. I don't know if every Aes Sedai knows how to do it, but most of them do. But in the show, it's apparently Age of Legends tech, like Lost to Time. And Moraine here has apparently reverse engineered it after having been on the receiving end of it last season. Now, is this a huge deal? I don't think so. Like, tied-off weaves are handy, but they're not exactly, like, Choden Call level game changers. But it's still just funny to imagine, like, a book Aes Sedai watching this, like, wait, you guys know how to do this? It's like Weaves 101. But the other question that I have after this scene was, will Moraine teach that skill to anyone? Or hoard this knowledge? And knowing Moraine, probably the latter. Samael here. The Forsaken equivalent of, like, a LinkedIn profile. Yes, I did basically invent war. You're welcome. And I should probably do that in a Scottish accent. I can't. I'm horrible. Anyway, technically, I don't think he's wrong, I think. In the books, one of the male Forsaken, probably him, but honestly, you can keep track, took a peaceful game called Swords and turned it into actual war. Because, you know, nothing says peak villainy like ruining board game night forever! But let's be real. Okay, the reason I'm not sure if it's Samael is because most of the male Forsaken are snooze fests. Like, Asmodean is interesting. Moradin, fascinating. Demandred, occasionally compelling. But Samael, Bilal, Raven, who cares? They're like the middle managers of the Dark One's army. I didn't even care enough to Google it to see if this is the right Forsaken. That's how little Samael matters to me. Okay, this is peak, like, it's Forsaken behavior, that face touching. I'm pretty sure I called it out in my reaction. It's so aggressively weird that even when I was rewatching it, having seen how the entire episode went, I literally wondered if this was Lanfear in disguise, because normal people don't just casually caress scars during small talk. Whatever. I've had plenty of comments, though, telling me that I must hate intimacy because humans touch each other. But there's a spectrum. Lovers, sure, you can touch their face. Parents to their kids, kids to their parents. Yeah, I guess go for it. Random co-workers, mid-conversation. No, ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Get your hand off my face. And, okay, Samael's scar, I do remember that. That is book accurate. And that he refused to have it healed is also book accurate. I think because he wanted Lews Therin to see it as he killed him or something, which, you know, is petty, even for a Forsaken. What is this scene's deal? What is its function? Because, okay, the big plan, apparently hatched off screen, was to trap Samael so that he would teach Rand. Why? Okay, in the books that does happen. They do trap a Forsaken to teach Rand, but that role goes to Asmodean, who is one of the actually interesting Forsaken, in my opinion. He plays music and has a personality beyond grumpy war nerd. Here's how it went down in the books. After Rand wrecks Asmodean in Ruidian, Lanfear slaps a bespoke shield on him, just sort of loose enough to drip feed Saidin to him for teaching. It's clever, dramatic, and it gives us a villain with layers. But Samael, the Forsaken equivalent of a participation ribbon. Why replace a complex villain with a guy whose entire vibe is discount Napoleon? But the real kicker is this whole plot goes nowhere. Samael just dies later. So what was this? Just trolling book fans? A placeholder for Asmodean for next season? I don't know, but it took time out of this episode that could have gone somewhere else, and I have thoughts. Finally, the Balefire Rod. We all saw this, well, I don't know about all of us, but a lot of us saw this in episode 1, and we were very, very excited about it. For the uninitiated, Balefire is nuclear magic. It doesn't just kill you, it erases your timeline. Like, the stronger the Balefire is, the further back in time it erases you. And while like any strong channeler who knows the weave can do it, this rod lets anybody who can channel do it, or anybody who can channel Saidar, I suppose. And yeah, and it also says in the books, like, it's hard to control. In fact, the note in the book like says that Varen wrote almost impossible to control, so hard that she ripped the paper. But okay, we also have in this scene Chesmo. Chesmo is playing with cats, and I'm pretty sure she's the one we saw playing with cats in the last episode, and I think they've actually merged two Black Aja sisters into one, which makes it really twisted. Because in the books, there's two Black Aja. One is a crazy cat mom who adopts strays and nurses them tenderly while being evil, but she's good to cats. And then there's another one who's a psycho cat killer who murders them for fun. And it seems that Chesmal now has murdered them into one monster who collects cats just to torture them later. Efficient. Totally unhinged. Okay, so Moggy here surprised me. I didn't think she was going to give up this bracelet, but no, she hands it over to the Black Aja. Why? My guess is that, like she always does, she's playing the long game. She doesn't know where the rest of the male Idom is, so she lets them do the legwork. It's a classic spider move, is lets the flies scurry into her web. And sure enough, by the end of this scene, Liandrin finally clocks that something's up. Maybe it's the black fingertips? Like, oh, this random servant we've ignored all season has blackened fingertips. How curious. I will say, in the books, this is book accurate. Moggy masquerades as a servant, and I did look up her name. It is, looking at my notes, Gyldin? I don't know how to pronounce it. Gyldin. That's her name as a servant in the books. I love this detail. I love it because this is book accurate. I believe it is in Tenshiko where people start using chopsticks. I'm not sure if they always use them, but they definitely have them in Tenshiko. And there are multiple scenes of Nynaeve struggling with them. So it's kind of hilarious to see her doing very well while Matt is the clueless one. But okay, just a complete aside here, I do want to give you a bit of a cautionary tale about AI because I could not remember what they were called. I thought I'm going to tell people what these were called in the books. And so I typed in Google, what were chopsticks called in the Wheel of Time? And Google, because we live in a hellscape, an AI hellscape, the first result was Google's AI confidently declaring, and I'm just going to quote the whole thing here, in the Wheel of Time, chopsticks are referred to as, quote, sporks. This is a humorous, slightly archaic name given to them by the characters in the books, likely as a way of differentiating them from traditional spoons and forks. Yes, sporks, because obviously Robert Jordan, the man who invented the old tongue, would go, what should I call chopsticks? Ah, yes, a goofy portmanteau of spoon and fork. The actual answer, they're called Sursa, not sporks, never sporks. If you're using AI, this is your warning. AI lies. It's just fully making shit up. Okay, so they must have figured out where Liandrin's crew was hiding, presumably from that poor guy in episode 6 who mentioned the Lunold house. Now, book fans, we know this. Show-only fans may not know, but the original Tenshiko plot was a whole detective saga. We got the squad, Nynaeve and Elayne, Thom and Jewel and Sandor, which in the books in the show you have no idea who it is. And then you got the muscle, Baeldoman and Egwene, oh, my beloved. And then the method, the men scouted, because apparently the girls couldn't handle a stroll through town without fainting, or getting kidnapped, or bonked on the head, more likely. And the men were scouting, gathering intel, and bringing it back, and eventually they pieced together that the Black Aja was holed up in the Panarch's palace. The show's version, oh look, they're walking over there. Cool, let's follow. And you know what? Fine. We don't have time for Julian Sandor's entire backstory. 8 episodes, people. So this was just very truncated, but there was a lot left out here. Also, just going to point out, if you take a good look at Nynaeve there, she's got a necklace. That necklace is probably holding Lan's ring. And no, it is not nestled between her breasts like some Robert Jordan fever dream. So yes, this was the shot from the trailer that we all obsessed over. They're breaking into the Panarch's palace. We were right about that. And yeah, it is kind of silly that they just sort of walk in. But on first watch, I was totally on board. I was like, yeah, we're simplifying to make room for something epic later. I assumed. Anyway, the palace guard here mentions the Panarch Amyrlin. That is book canon, but it's barely a blip here in the books. During this particular rescue, she actually kind of provides comic relief. And then later on, she becomes really, really tragic. But cutting her here, totally fine. She's not essential to the story. But given how other things play out in this episode, on a rewatch, I found myself a little bit frustrated because we skipped a lot of fun stuff earlier. because I thought we were saving room for cool stuff later, and then the cool stuff didn't come. So then when I rewatched it, all I could think was, well, why did we skip the fun stuff earlier if we weren't even getting the cool stuff? All right, book fans, check it out. Check out Lanfear's all-white villainous chic. This is 100% book on brand for her. In the book, she wears white all the time, and I think usually with a silver belt. But, whatever. We don't need the belt. Whatever. It's her whole aesthetic. It's like, I'm evil, but I'm going to make it bridal. Rand has chosen this backdrop for this dream chat. It's the site of the boar, the site where the Sharome crashed, the Sharome. And yes, some of you got very upset when I called it the Colum Don in my episode 4 breakdown. Technically, you're right. The Colum Don was the university and the Sharome was the floating Death Star research lab up in the sky. But Colum Don is way more fun to say. It's the one that sticks in my brain. It's like the difference between Kleenex versus facial tissue. One is much more fun to say. And, but okay. It's the Sharome. And Rand says the word Sharome here. How does Rand know the name Sharome? We didn't hear it in his ancestral vision. Now, we didn't see every single second of those visions. Like, we didn't see the walk back from the camp where the girls were in Lewin's vision to, we didn't see all of that. But I don't know, we didn't see anybody say the name Sharome, so I'm wondering if this is one of the first signs of Lews Therin's memories bleeding through. The show here has taken a stand, basically, on a debate among book fans for a while. It's been the debate whether or not Lanfear or Muirin Sedai bored into the Dark One's prison on purpose. The show is saying that it was an accident. That's always been my belief, too. I think it's more interesting, more tragic, if it was a colossal oops. And the show apparently seems to agree with me on that. Then Lanfear drops this bombshell. The only reason she swore her dark oaths was because her only option at that point, after accidentally breaking the Dark One's prison, was death. And okay, that's fair. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'd have made the same choice too. I'm not sure. Probably not. I hope not. I don't know, but whatever. But my personal headcanon for both the books and the show is that while that's true, there's probably a lot more to it. Like, yes, her initial research into a new power source. In the books, it was just a new power source that men and women, male and female channelers could use. But in the show, it seems to be for universal channeling, for everyone. And I think that came from a mix of genuine desire to help and raw ambition. It wasn't just one. She wanted that third name, that recognition. In the books, you get to a certain level of prestige, you get a third name, and that's what she wanted. And then she accidentally, but literally unleashes Satan and goes, well, I've already broken the world, might as well make it worth it. It's the darkest, sunk cost fallacy imaginable. Now, the show and books, actually, the books almost flat out say this, suggest that part of her turn was to win Lews Therin back, which, what? That never has made sense to me. How does that logic work? My ex hates the Dark One, so obviously joining Team Evil will make him love me again? Unless her plan was always to turn him, but given what we know about Rand/Lews, there were way better, way easier strategies. She could have played the damsel in distress, oh no, I accidentally freed Satan. Save me, big strong dragon. That might have actually worked. We actually see it in the show. When she plays a victim, he wants to save her. But no, she went full dark friend. Brilliant. What is she doing? So Rand is asking here, do you want to be free of your oaths? Do you want that freedom? Or do you want power? And she's just, yes. Why not both? And honestly, I don't think she's lying. I don't think Lanfear cares about the oaths themselves. I don't think she wants to be free of her oaths so that she can be good again. I think she cares about control. She wants to, be, I decide my fate. I take what I want. It's selfish. It's compelling. Lanfear claims here that Rand, in his past life, so I guess Lews Therin, made the whole world bow, and she was the only one who refused. Which, okay, I don't think that's book canon at all. In the books, I believe, she wanted to rule beside Lews Therin, and she really, really wanted the power, and he really didn't like how much power she wanted, and that's why they broke up. And I actually always thought and still think that she would have been miserable sharing power. Like, she is drawn to powerful men, but ultimately wants all the power for herself. And so she would want to, like, supersede them, but then she would resent them for not being as powerful. Like, it's her eternal contradiction. But in the show, I'm not sure what they're referencing here. Like, when did Luz Theron make everyone bow? Before the bore was drilled? After? And her claim that he left her because he wouldn't bow? I don't know. Because book canon, like I said, says he left her because she loved power more than him. Loved power more than she loved him. And because he already, like, moved on to Ilyena and their kids, I think, by the time the bore had been drilled. I don't know. This feels to me like Lanfear doing one of the things she does best. Like, she's rewriting history to make herself the wronged party. It's classic narcissistic ex behavior, honestly. And finally, Rand sees Lanfear for who she is. And of course, it takes her torturing Egwene to get him there. But okay, we get True Power 101. For those ignoring my spoiler warnings, what it actually is it's literal Dark One juice. Like, the energy Lanfear accidentally tapped into was the Dark One. And how it works, the Dark One in the books anyway, I don't know what they're going to do in the show, but in the books, he doles it out like a an evil sugar daddy. Ishii gets tons because I'm, in my headcanon, this is why. Because he is the only one who shares the Dark One's, like, burn it all down vibe and whatever. And then it has side effects. It is super addictive. It causes something called the Saw, these black flecks that you sometimes see in Lanfear's eyes. And eventually it will turn your eyes into, like, fire pits, which you saw in season 1, and in book 1, that's how Ashamael is too. The visual difference here I love too, because the True Power looks like thick liquid darkness compared to, like, Rand's sorry, I just heard the words I was about to say in my head, and they're funny. Sorry, Rand's smoky taint. Anyway, whatever. It's the same color, different vibes. Oh my god, smoky taint. Anyway, just gonna say as well, just a side note, I always thought it was a little unfair that Lanfear in the books rarely got True Power access, because she's literally the one that's responsible, that freed the Dark One. You'd think that earned her some special perks, but I guess Satan doesn't do employee recognition programs. The other thing to note here, Egwene appears to have leveled up hard. Not only is she pushing Lanfear out of the dream, she's doing it from apparently Rand's dream? Like, that's like kicking someone out of someone else's Zoom call? I don't know. It's iconic. It's great. But, okay. The plan here, what was it? I don't get it. They, like, lure Lanfear into the dream so that she attacks you on purpose. It's like, hey, Satan's ex-girlfriend, please murder us strategically. Like, first watch, I was like, okay, we're skipping steps, we're building up to something, but it led to nothing, and I kind of got retroactively angry. Like, not the dream scene, but whatever happened. Why waste on time on a plan that doesn't work, doesn't fail in an interesting way? It just fizzles. I don't know. And also, I'm just going to point out, once again, are those sequins on these pillows? What is this universal design choice from, like, Tar Valon to the Aiel waist? Did nobody in this culture care about their hair? Like, just imagine waking up with half your scalp tangled in bedazzled fabric. It's torture. And then, like I said, nothing. This plan fails in the most underwhelming way possible. Like, not with a dramatic twist that raises the stakes, but with nothing. There's no consequences, no challenges, just time wasted. Like, if this plan fails spectacularly, that can be great storytelling. But when it fails and nothing changes, I'm like, why did we include this? We could have cut straight from the dream confrontation to the next scene without losing anything. It's just frustrating because this episode had a lot of heavy lifting to do, and this feels like it is dead weight. And it took time from something that I think this episode missed. I knew it was Lanfear from the second I spotted that Forsaken ring before she even took off her hood. And then, boom, Melindhra Reveal, finally! Dark Friend Aiel confirmed. And, yeah, juicy here, because Lanfear mentions calling in a specific debt that Melindhra owes her. And based on some stuff that Melindhra says earlier about swearing her oaths to reclaim Malkir, this feels like a long-standing arrangement, which implies that Lanfear's been appearing to people, like maybe in dreams, like Ishii does, way before Ishii freed her, way before Rand broke the seals at the end of season 1. This tweaks book canon, because in the books, only Ishamael could partially escape the prison early, basically manifesting as like a phantom or whatever. But honestly, if I'm right about this change in canon, I like it, because making the Forsaken more just universally powerful, I think it works for TV. Plus, it also kind of explains how their influence has lingered for millennia. Like, they're nightmare boogeymen. Like, they're whispering in the dark. And if it's been something that's been happening constantly, it makes sense. Okay, so here we're getting confirmation that Elayne and Nynaeve pieced together whatever Moggy did to them, basically the compulsion. And, yeah, this in conjunction with that, what I thought of was that clunky scene in episode 6 where they stood around going like, oh, why are we here? Why aren't we sitting on the bed anymore? Oh, my head hurts. I don't remember. Blah, blah, blah. I get why the show did it. But come on, these two are smart. I don't think we needed that. And I especially don't think we needed both of these scenes. Because I feel like this is two scenes that are explaining things that we already know. Nynaeve here says, whoever finds it, get out. Don't wait for the others. And this is classic Nynaeve, the queen of do as I say, not as I do, because of course she finds the collar, and of course she waits. That is book canon, show canon, just fundamental Nynaeveness. She will always prioritize her friends over logic, safety, even her own advice, and it's why we stan. I just want to talk about this scene just for a second, the acting in the show. There's an overhead shot, no face, can't really even see body shape, and I immediately knew that was Moggy because of, I don't know what to call it, like her impish skittering gait. It's just pure spider energy. Nobody else moves, like they're both hunting and ready to bolt at any second. It's perfection. Moggy says that she's trying to figure out how to kill another Forsaken. Given that the show has established that Forsaken have some form of immortality, like we saw Lanfear last year, basically stabbed through the heart, throat slit, and she just got better. I'm doubling down. Ishamael isn't dead. His death was not nearly gross enough to count. What she does to Samael is properly vile. Like I'll show it later, but she yanks out his blood in some sort of spiderweb formation. It is disgusting. It is effective. And I kind of find it hilarious because, as a book fan, Samael dies off screen in the books, but in the show, no. We get a full close-up of his mangled corpse just in case anybody doubted Moggettion's commitment to the bit. I'm pretty sure I missed this the first time around, again, reaction, having to talk and whatever, but Ruark says the people can't face the truths revealed in Ruidian, and I'm glad that this was included, especially because I missed it the first time around and I was finding it weird that this wasn't mentioned, because it sets up basically why Rand, quote-unquote, shouldn't blurt everything out later, though I do wish they'd emphasize that more in the moment when it happens, like really hammered home how dangerous that knowledge could be. Also, though, it is confirmed here, chiefs and wise ones. They both see their ancestors pass too. In the books, likely in the show too, when you become a wise one apprentice, you go through the rings, like we saw Moraine go through, and then when you graduate to full wise ones, you go through the glass columns, like we saw Rand go through. It's like a intense hazing ritual, like, congrats, here's your existential crisis. I just want to talk for a second about something that always kind of bummed me out in the books. Egwene and Aviendha have this fantastic friendship early on that just kind of evaporates. I know everybody sees the friendship between Aviendha and Elayne, and lots of people ship them. I never did, but lots of people do. And I love their dynamic, but I really loved Egwene and Aviendha's dynamic in books 4 and 5. And I'm not talking romantic shipping, like literally just their friendship. I was super into their friendship. There was this mutual respect and understanding that got kind of lost, especially when Egwene's story moves beyond the waste. Seeing their friendship here makes me happy, even though it's a little bit bittersweet to know how little it gets explored later. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I always felt that there was a deeper connection that we never got to see play out. And I don't know, I never hear anybody talk about their friendship. I feel like I'm alone in this. Am I? Am I alone on this island? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. This is a big change from the books. In the books, Rand's been traveling with the Aiel for a while, and a peddler's caravan gets swept up with him totally by accident. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And among the peddler's caravan, there's a gleeman named, I think, Jason Natil, whatever. But he's actually Asmodee in disguise. And he's the one who gives Couladin his tattoos, which are the markings that, declare whoever the Karakarn, if you've got two of them. Now, book canon actually leaves it kind of deliciously ambiguous. Does Couladin believe he's the real deal? Did he just wake up with tattoos one morning and think, oh shit, look at that, I'm the chosen one? Or did Asmodean basically recruit him for a charade? Both readings work, but the show here is making it crystal clear. Couladin knows that this is a fraud. He knows it's a scam to usurp Rand. And it's Lanfear pulling the strings instead of Asmodean, who is still MIA. And yeah, I miss him. I'm hoping we're getting him because we've only been introduced to 7 Forsaken so far. First watch, I was too busy screaming at Swan's obvious colossal mistake to notice something important here. Lianda and Verin deliver this news that 8 sisters have left the tower. And Swan, in a move that would make even Gowan facepalm, sends her allies chasing after them. Now, the show establishes here that 8 sisters can gentle a man, so that's the justification, I guess. Book canon, I think, is a bit fuzzier, I think it's 13? I don't know. There's no hard rules, I think, about how many you need to gentle a man. There probably are some formal rules, but whatever. What really gets me is this is an obvious trap. Why scatter your forces right before a critical vote that you should be taking, because you should be taking Liana's advice here? But also, Verin, again, the messenger is Verin, the woman who, let's just say, book fans know, she is very invested in the flow of information and knowledge. Swan has to fail here for the plot to happen, but this is so frustrating. Take Liana's advice, keep your people close, and maybe, just maybe, question why, I don't know, the Browns here are suddenly playing telephone with Red Aja Gossip. Just ask questions, Swan. Man, this moment here where Nynaeve jumps at nothing, it feels off to me. In Fires of Heaven, her terror of Moghedien is earned. Moghedien has a personal vendetta against her. The beauty of her arc in Fires of Heaven is how Nynaeve judges herself as a coward for being scared, when anybody would be terrified in that position. That's the irony, that Nynaeve thinks she's weak for feeling fear, while everyone else sees her persisting despite it as the definition of bravery. It's like Matt thinking that he's selfish while constantly risking his neck for others. It's the disconnect between self-perception and reality that makes that story feel rich. But here it's like the story's borrowing that emotional beat without the foundation. Right now, Nynaeve isn't being irrational. She's literally powerless, chasing Black Aja who could vaporize her with a thought. And worse, the rest of the group that has come here, we've got Elayne, Thom, Matt, Min. 3 of them aren't channelers at all, and they're not jumping at shadows. So when Nynaeve does it, it doesn't read as unfair self-criticism. It reads as actual cowardice compared to everybody else. That's not the same as in the books, the exploration of Nynaeve's imposter syndrome and her self-perception. And that's the problem. Part of book Nynaeve's growth is about learning to see herself as she is. And she's not a coward. But show Nynaeve she is underperforming. The disconnect that makes her arc poignant is gone. And without it, this just kind of feels like kicking her when she's down. This moment made me really happy. Elayne talking about delving for metal, straight from the books. Well, not Elayne delving for metal. Actually, that's something that Egwene can do. But what it is that it's just peak Elayne. She is essentially a magical scientist, always experimenting and pushing boundaries. Even last season, making alcohol, that fit. Of course, Elayne drinking is a fandom joke, but it's also her applying methodical research to solve problems. This is the Elayne that we know and love, the brilliant innovator who's going to later become the first Aes Sedai of this age to create Terangrial. And more of this, please. Okay, book fans, did you see that? That symbol that Matt and Min just passed? That is almost a Mercedes-Benz logo. In the books, the Panarch's Palace has an actual Mercedes-Benz logo because, plot twist, the world of the Wheel of Time is our world. It is our far future post-apocalypse. When I first read this, though, I missed that it was a Mercedes logo completely, and the description is blatant. It is obvious. I don't know what else it could possibly be. But if you're not looking for a car emblem in your fantasy novel, just total whoosh, just went right over my head. I spent ages waiting for that mysterious artifact to matter because it was described so precisely that I thought it had to be important. And then I joined the fandom and found out what it was and felt like an idiot. I thought this was a really clever show invention. The Idom physically changes shape when not in use, and that gives the Black Aja, Liandrin, and everybody a huge disadvantage because I've never seen it deployed. Like, watching my reaction when if you watch it, you'll actually see me have basically an arc of figuring that out because I couldn't figure out why Liandrin wasn't able to find it. It's smart world building like this that I thought it's a really good adaptation choice. Also, I love how they're handling the Panarch's Palace. Like, we're in a storage room here, but the museum aspect of the out part, like, that is book accurate. There is a museum. I think there's like an elephant skeleton and a giraffe skeleton and like artifacts, like I said, the Mercedes-Benz logo and other whatever. It's really cool, and I like the design of the Panarch's Palace. Ooh, we're getting early hints of what Matt might ask the Finn later. What would the world be like without channeling? That's such a Matt question. Equal parts existential and petty, and it's the perfect setup for his eventual deal. Yes! Called it. Thom exposes Lord Gabriel as a Forsaken because Raven's compulsion is not on him, and it can fool him because he actually knew the court a decade ago. This is pretty much, almost exactly how I expected this reveal to go. It not only exposes Raven, but it also shows how deeply the Forsaken have embedded themselves across the world. This is the moment where our heroes are going to realize they've been living alongside ancient evils, and they could be anywhere. Matt sees the Redstone Doorway and just walks through it. That is classic Matt. But on a rewatch, just gotta say, Min took way too long to say don't go. She had a viewing of him hanging right in front of that exact door. She sees the door, sees Matt approaching it, and just stands there. Just scream, throw a shoe at him, something, I don't know, whatever. That said, Matt walking through, despite having actually seen the sketch himself, to me that was totally believable. If I saw a drawing of myself hanging in front of a door, my brain would only remember like, oh, that was a picture of me hanging. Like, not, oh, that specific door is bad news, so that tracks. But Min, come on, you had one job. Just pretty simple difference here. In the books, you just walk through the door. Normally. There's no, like, flashing lights not being thrown across the room. There's, like, a scene, I think, when somebody stumbles and falls and half of their body goes through one of the doors, and then he gets dragged out, and he's screaming from what he saw on the inside. But, like, if this had happened, basically, he would have been sucked in. Whatever. The show's version, though, it's more cinematic. Like, the door actively pulls you in and spits you out. It makes for good visuals, good sound design, even if it changes how the mechanic works. It doesn't matter. I don't know. It's cool. Just pointing out the difference for my fellow book nerds. The foxes are here, and I don't remember if they're the Aelfin or the Ylfin. I probably never will, but the foxes are here. And I've been saying for ages, like since season 1, that I knew we'd get at least one of the Finns, snakes or foxes. I think we're getting them both, but I knew we'd get at least one because they're so crucial to Matt's arc. And yeah, on their design, I couldn't remember what they actually looked like in the books, and I Googled their description, and literally what I found was fox-like in appearance. So, okay, that's it. I don't know. This interpretation, I guess, works. Much like with Loyal, when I just look at like a freeze frame of it, I'm not sure that it works. But when it, like, the actors in it's moving and we've got the sound and the way things are directed, it does work for me. Like, it's creepy enough. And I think that's true of a lot of, I don't know, special effects fantasy. The magic happens in the performance. And for me, I'm not, tell me in the comments if it worked for you, but for me, this creature worked when I saw him alive, like, and moving. When I just, though, paused it and was looking at him, trying to see, I wasn't sure. The fox speaking the old tongue here, that's a direct book lift. I actually think they speak the old tongue the entire time. The cool thing that actually happens with Matt, I think when he sees the snakes first, he doesn't realize that he's fluent in the old tongue until after he comes out and realizes that he spoke the old tongue the entire time that he was in there. Like, Moraine and Rand were in the doorway at the same time, and they needed translators, and he didn't get one. So, yeah. The books pull a really cool trick where whenever Matt is unknowingly speaking the old tongue, his syntax changes, and it's so cool, because on a reread you can spot it. It's whatever. But that is something that I don't think is possible to translate to screen unless we want subtitles from Atlas. But even then, you would be missing the nuance of it. I don't know. It's really cool. But whatever. Having the fox here speak the old tongue briefly, that, like I said, that's fully book canon. And again, for those who don't listen to my spoiler warnings, change from the books, Matt goes into the snake door, which is the one that Elaida went through first, the answer givers. And then when he comes to the second door, he assumes that it works the same way as the first door, and he goes in thinking that he can ask more questions, but they won't answer his questions because they're not answer givers, they're gift givers. And he gets really frustrated when they won't answer his questions, and he just starts yelling out things that he wants. He accidentally makes wishes instead. The books actually don't ever spell that out. They don't actually say what it is, but, Jordan trusted us to connect the dots. And yeah, the show simplifies it though, because the fox literally outright asks, "What is your need?" Making the rules crystal clear without dumbing it down. Okay. Chesmal became 100% more terrifying with this casual, like, small bones break the nicest or whatever. It's obviously about killing cats. She doesn't need help being creepy, but I'm just saying. She was playing with cats outside. Here, she's talking about killing cats. Yeah. This moment, to me, felt like that spoon-fed memory wipe scene from episode 6. Like, we already know about this vision. I think they even showed it in the previously on this episode. We saw it. Having Min dramatically pull out the sketch now is, like, she would remember. Why is she looking at the sketch? I don't know. It's like the show shouting, "Remember this! Remember this thing! Remember!" It's whatever. We're not Goldfish. We can retain plot points for more than 20 minutes. Like, this kind of hand-holding, it takes me out of the story for a second. I wish that hadn't happened. Let's call this pure Ta'Veren luck. The show hasn't really dwelled on that much as a concept, but whatever. They have confirmed that all 5 of the Two Rivers kids are Ta'Veren. So Nynaeve stumbling across the collar because Liandrin threw a temper tantrum, textbook pattern bending. In book terms, just for those again who don't know, when the wheel needs something to happen, it arranges for it to happen. It'll arrange coincidences through chosen threads, like the universe stage managing events. It's why Ta'Veren can walk into a tavern and suddenly 5 unrelated people decide to swear fealty to them. The pattern warps probability around them. That line about promising Morgase to keep Elayne safe, I'm going to take that as confirmation that the show is keeping Morgase and Thom's book relationship, because, let's be real, you don't ask some random court bard to protect your heir. And, okay, speaking of which, could we also just say good riddance to the gross book plot where Elayne flirts with Thom to compete with her mother? That always felt like Jordan heard one psychology lecture and decided, yes, that's how the women's work. Like, the show is cutting that. Yes, thank you. Okay, so that is Jane I don't know how to say her name, whatever. I'm pretty sure she's actually the one who does wield the Balefire Rod in the books. I'm not sure, because like I've said many times, in the books, most Black Aja are like as interchangeable as cutlery. Like, I don't know. But, okay, I'm just going to highlight some book differences that I don't care about, really. But I'm pretty sure in the books, Balefire is just like a solid bar of white light. It doesn't have a purplish tinge. It doesn't crackle like this. And it doesn't, like, it wouldn't cut a line in the ceiling like we're seeing here. Whatever it touches stops existing. Just stops existing and exists, like, it stops existing the further back in time. The longer, I guess, and the stronger a beam you weave at it. we'll still see the time erasure effects. We'll see that in a minute, but yeah, like this crackling and slicing effect, I think it works for TV, actually. I think it just makes things more visually interesting because touch you and you stop existing, it probably would look like a weird editing mistake. So this is a perfectly acceptable change. It actually took me a second when I was watching this to realize what we were seeing here because, again, this isn't what Balefire looks like in my head. I'm pretty sure it's not how it's described in the books, but I think the visual here works a lot. We watch time itself kind of unravel. This like ghostly reverse motion of Jane or Jeanne or whatever, the ceiling itself, that's the show demonstrating Balefire's most dangerous quality. It doesn't just kill you, it erases you back in time. And the further back you go, the more reality unravels. Like, if that beam had been stronger, every conversation, every action, everything that Jane had done until that far back is undone. Elayne's only erasing a few seconds here, but imagine wiping someone from days ago. You start to create paradoxes that like shred the pattern. I'm going to be fascinated to watch and see if non-book readers catch this, because without internal monologues, whatever, the show has to explain complex mechanics kind of visually, and this is probably the clearest way to show like this isn't a normal death. But I'm not very visual, so I don't know if I didn't know what was going on here, if I would have caught this, and I don't know how many people there are like me out there who would get what is happening here. So the Finn hit Matt here with the like ultimate no outside beverages sign. Are you carrying iron, instruments of music, tools for making light? And yeah, that's lifted straight from the books because like Robert Jordan was obviously riffing on old Fae folklore. This is classic, those are classic Fae weaknesses. Iron burns them, music binds them, and artificial light ruins the vibe. Okay, I need to talk about the sound this thing makes. And normally I try and describe it, but you'll have to just trust me, because if you watch this, you know the noise I mean. I was actually a little bit disappointed when I watched it with subtitles and it says laugh here, because the first time, the second time, whatever, I watched it, like I went back and rewound it a few times going like, is it laughing? Is it screaming? Is it crying? Is it angry? Or is it some other emotion that we don't have a name for because we're not cosmic nightmare creatures? The sound, for me, it perfectly captured how alien the Finn are. In the book, someone, I can't remember who, probably Moraine, basically says, like, are they evil? I don't know, like, they are so far beyond our morality. It's like asking if a hurricane hates you personally. Like, their normal might involve skinning you alive to make a nice hat, but not out of malice, but just because that's how hats are made, where they come from. Like, they're so foreign. And that's what the sound to me nails. It is unfiltered otherness. Like, was it pain, joy, an interdimensional grocery list? Who knows? But if you felt your soul itch while watching this, that's good. That means the sound designer deserves a raise. But did it work for you? Because this really, really, really worked for me. And worked better before I saw the subtitles. Matt makes his first request here to stop getting, I think, bollocked about by every magical force on the planet. And that is so mad. Book fans are going to recognize his vibe. In the books, as I said, he stumbles into the Fox's door trying to ask questions, and then gets pissed when they won't answer, and just starts yelling in frustration his grocery list of needs. It's frustrated himbo energy. But the difference here, like in the books, he's accidentally brilliant. He doesn't realize he's making wishes. He thinks he's just complaining to customer service, but the show tweaks it. Here he's actually intentionally answering their "what do you need" prompt, but still with that trademark Matt chaos energy. Like, show Matt is answering a direct question. He's at least somewhat aware that he's negotiating with an interdimensional used car salesman. Okay, this I'm very curious about because it is different from the books. In the books, Matt has like Swiss cheese holes in his memory from the Shadar Logoth dagger. Like it was an infection that didn't just make him physically ill, but it eroded his memory. And so he asks the Finn to fill the holes in his memory, or doesn't just ask, like he says, what I wish is to have like the holes in my memory filled or whatever. And the Finn go, ha ha, sure, and then cram his head with dead generals' PTSD instead. Like it's not, they basically do the whole letter of the law thing with him. But in the show version, Matt's head is a junk drawer of Hero of the Horn memories from blowing the horn last season. And the Finn fix them. And they offer it here. How? Like they alphabetize them? I don't know, sticky notes? I don't know. And we won't know until season 4. Maybe the show's simplifying other people's memories plot by like, you know, they're tying it directly to the horn. Like that makes perfect sense. But I'm not sure, like, and I mean, we'll see it in a minute, like in another scene. I'm not sure what they've done here. But I do also just want to say that Matt just blindly saying yes, basically, to an otherworldly entity, it's iconic. This man would 100% click, I agree, on a demonic terms and conditions page. Because, yeah, this is also different. They suggest it, and he kind of, I mean, he doesn't say yes, but he kind of agrees to it. Okay, time for a bit of a disturbing detail. That extreme close-up of the Finn's leather outfit, pretty sure book fans will recognize what this is. In the text, Matt, I'm guessing with the foxes, notices the Finn's clothes look, they're a certain type of tanned leather, and they're suspiciously, like, they look like human skin. The show doesn't say it outright, but I'm pretty sure that lingering shot, that's supposed to be our, oh shit, is that, like, I don't know. I don't know what human leather would look like, so I have no idea, but I don't know why else we would get that close-up of that. And then Matt demands to be let out as his third and final request, just like in the books, but I'm not even going to show it, because whatever they do to his neck, I don't know if it's acting or special effects or, like, prosthetic. I don't know. When he's asking what price, I had to look away. The veins, the muscles, it's like someone turned his trachea into a stress ball. It's horrifying, effective. I hate it. 10 out of 10. Would panic again. Min, sweetheart, darling, why are you not double tapping? Aiel, last episode, queen of stabbing responsibly. Trollic, won't stay down, just stab it 5 more times. Here, Min clocks Chesmal once, and then, like, this is why final girls die in sequels. I spent the entire scene with them out here waiting for Chesmal to sit up, like, actually, I'm into cranial trauma, like, because nobody in the show understands the rules except Aiel. I will just point out, again, for people who ignore my warnings, in the books, all of this, like with the hanging in the door, happens in Ruidian, where Rand was. Matt is hanging at that point from Avendasora, the big tree outside. Rand cuts him down and then performs medieval CPR, I guess. Like, there's none of that, you know, chest compressions nonsense. Book Rand heaves Matt up by his belt, like he's trying to shake coins out of him, and then he pounds on his chest. Like, I don't know. And it works because, you know, Taviran. But I actually always loved it because I thought it was really cool of Robert Jordan to go, like, yeah, they probably wouldn't know CPR at this point. So, like, invent whatever this world's version of that would be. I don't know. But the real star, you will note, I don't know if you can see it in that shot, there's something new and decorative on Matt's neck there, or on his chest. We know what that is, and yes, we need a season 4. The other thing I'm going to point out about this scene, Matt was hanging there. He's hanging, got the rope around his neck. Did you see what he's hanging from? Look, something's jammed into the top of that door frame there. That's the Ashandari. That's it. And yeah, I never thought that the thing from season 2 where he wraps the knife around the whatever was an Ashandari. I always thought that was foreshadowing this thing. That's what I thought it was until someone was like, oh, it's an Ashandari, I tried to stop it, whatever. I never thought it was. And yeah, it wasn't, because this is a fucking Ashandari. He got the gift from the Finn. Again, what exactly did the Finn do to Matt's brain? In the books, they stuff his head with memories. They fill the holes with other people's memories. Here, it's like they took some away. That's the opposite of what happens in the books. And my tinfoil hat theory. The Finn organized his memory memories, like a messy filing cabinet, like shoving all of the Heroes of the Horn memory into one section to stop the noise. But brains have limited storage, so some of Matt's own memories got accidentally deleted in the process. So now he's got new holes, which means, drumroll please, he might try to visit another door later in order to fill those holes back in. I think this could work because, like, it keeps his battle strategy memories, which he needs, like, for the story, what happens with him, while adding drama, like, wait, why don't I remember my sisters? And it sets up a reversed order book plot. First foxes, the wishes, and then snakes, the answers. Nynaeve, whoever finds the collar, get out, don't wait. Also, Nynaeve stands outside the door like a worried mom at the mall, like even holding her purse like one. I love her hypocrisy. But also, why is she staring and looking that way instead of at the door? Your friends are about to come out of the door. The door is where they're coming from. This is, I don't know, turn around. Also, and Liandrin, why, like, what is she doing? Why is she coming out? Did she know someone was here? Did she hear Nynaeve's internal monologue? I smell the guilt. I don't know, some sort of black, just spidey sense. The confrontation that they have in a second, it rules. I'll get to that. But the setup, I don't know, it just was weird. It was like, just Liandrin's just here now. This confrontation, everything. Nynaeve, our queen of stubborn compassion, tries to save, to empathize with, to redeem Liandrin, because of course she does. Of course she does. That's Nynaeve. And Liandrin's reaction? Perfection. She is equal parts impressed and disgusted, like watching a puppy try to nurse a scorpion. I don't know. But what really got me is Liandrin's twisted self-acceptance arc. It's like the dark mirror version of what Nynaeve's eventual arc is. Liandrin turned to the shadow because at 13, she was impregnated by some creep who then wanted to murder her baby. And now she's like, honestly, I should have let him. Being evil rocks. It's horrifying. It's tragic. It's weirdly compelling. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion where the train is happy about it. My friend Matt from the Queers of Time podcast, he thought this scene might actually replace Nynaeve's book showdown with Moggy, and I get why. But for me, personally, I needed that Moggy fight, not Liandrin, because book Nynaeve needs to face the Forsaken and realize, oh shit, I'm that powerful. That's... I have so many thoughts when we get there. We'll get there when we get there. This is where the show diverges from the books in a pretty big way. And I'm going to say this one, for me, it works. Because in the books, Nynaeve doesn't break her block until much, much later. Like multiple books later. When Moggy, who by that time is her personal nemesis, tries to balefire her but misses because of pigeons. Yes, really? That's not a joke. And Nynaeve sinks to a river bottom and has a Matrix-level epiphany, and boom, block gone. It's iconic because Moggy literally unleashes her worst enemy. But the show is having Liandrin trigger it now. And I think that works because, first of all, number one, the show's block, it's crippling. It's not just an, oops, I'm mad now quirk. If Nynaeve's block is this debilitating as it's been in the show, they have to break it earlier than they do in the books. They just have to. And two, the personal stakes. In the books, the irony works because Moggy is Nynaeve's nemesis. She hasn't become Nynaeve's nemesis yet. Liandrin betrayed her first. This is the same level of satisfaction I get from it being Moggy that directly helps Nynaeve reach her first potential. Liandrin works for that now because right now Liandrin is her main nemesis. Let's talk about how Nynaeve breaks her block, because the show so far is completely sidestepping one of my biggest book gripes. Because in the books, women have to surrender to Saidar, while men must dominate Saidin. And look, I get it. Surrender isn't inherently bad, but making it a gendered requirement where men must dominate power in order to use it. They must wrestle it, and masculine, manly men, blah, 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 penis, something, whatever. And women must submit to Saidar to control it. Like, it's like a 1950s sitcom. Like, it's so, it makes my teeth ache. But here, Nynaeve's trigger isn't submission, it's love. The memory of her, fake but real to her daughter, that hope that she's been grieving since the Arches, that's what unlocks her power. No surrender, just raw, desperate, like, I will not let this light go out. Okay, show. I see what you're going for here. This slow-mo, the epic music, the water streaming off of her clothes like she's like a human kettle. This is supposed to be Nynaeve's holy shit moment. And it's good. I'm happy she's broken her block. The Moses effects look great. But here's the problem. Surviving isn't the same as winning. In the books, Nynaeve faces a Forsaken head-on and wins in a power-strength battle. No Angreal, no Tarangreal or whatever, Sanangreal, whatever. No extras. She's just that strong. This is just not drowning prettily. 2 full seasons since her season 1 explosions, and this is the payoff. This is cool. It looks cool, but it wasn't, for me anyway, a moment of awesome. It's survival after 2 seasons of Nynaeve being sidelined, 2 full complete seasons of her power being treated like a Chekhov's gun that never fires. This triumph feels like getting a participation trophy at best. And I know I'm not the only one who sees this. Like, Reddit, whatever, but I saw a show-only poster just, like, yesterday. The first thing I opened up after the episode aired, the post was, I hate Nynaeve. She's incompetent. She does the wrong thing at every turn. She doesn't help at all. Yeah, she had a big power moment, but it did literally nothing to help the story. Where is the Nynaeve who fucking heels stilling, who stands toe-to-toe with a Forsaken, who literally invents new weaves? We've known she's strong since season 1. Show us, show us why she's legendary. Okay, gonna take a victory lap, because I called this, 3, 4, I don't know when I called it, but I called this. They gave Ingtar's redemption arc to Melindhra, and it works, because for you book or show only people, Ingtar was a dark friend, Ingtar from season 2, who swore oaths to protect Faldara, and then he sacrifices himself, sort of rescinds his dark oaths to save the group. Although there aren't really dark oaths. He just stops being a dark friend at the end to save the group. Here we're getting the same beats, but this time it's Melindhra and it's about Malkyr. That red dot on her forehead, that is the Kasain. It's a Malkyri tradition, much like Lan's Hadori that he wears on his head all the time. I think in the books only married women wear the Kasain, but this is fine. It works, and it makes that speech. Remember the one she stole from Nynaeve? As long as one man wears the Hadori, as long as one woman wears the Kasain, it makes that land, because she is living it in this moment, and she's about to die it. Dying it? I don't know how that phrase would work, but you know what I mean. This is a massive shift from the books. This might be the biggest change in canon from the books, in my opinion. In the Wheel of Time, unless you're a black Aja, like a sworn on the Oath Rod, nothing magically binds you to the Dark One. You can always walk away. Like, you can always just, like, I'm not a dark friend anymore. Although, you're probably going to die because, like, you're not going to survive the other dark friends and the Fades and the Trollocs, whatever, hunting you. Like, they're always going to come up to you and be like, hey, remember that? Like, we're going to call some debts that we owe, and if you don't do them, then we're going to kill you. Or, like, more likely, we're going to kill and slowly torture every single person you've ever met and ever loved. Like, whatever. But in the show, no. You swear to the Dark One, and if you betray him, he yoinks your soul. No rebirth. Actual damnation. That does not exist in the books. The eternal death of the soul does not exist in the books. This is way darker and makes Melindra's sacrifice actually heavier than Ingtar. She's not just dying. She is erasing herself from eternity so Malkyr can live. Lan could be wrong. Like, book lore is full of that, right? Unreliable narrators. Like, everybody in the books swearing that Balefire destroys the soul. It is the eternal death of the soul, whereas Robert Jordan himself said, no, it doesn't. So maybe the show's keeping that theme, but I don't think so, because the soul-sucking effects look pretty definitive. Final note, I'm just going to say this. Death is lighter than a feather, duty heavier than a mountain lion. It's iconic. It comes straight out of the books. I like it coming from Melindhra here, but it better not be a one-off. Like, if I need to hear Lan say this to Rand later, because I feel like this moment needs to echo forward. Otherwise, it feels just like fan service. But if he takes that belief and that becomes something that he repeats later, I think it will make this moment even more significant. I did not catch this at first. Look at that. There's a person over there. Rand's staring at the horizon, and there's a figure there, and then when we pan back, nothing. That, my friends, I believe we are seeing the beginning of madness. And yeah, show only fans might be confused. I know some of them are not actually sure whether or not people are wrong about men going mad, but book readers know this is Sideen's toll. And I think the show is playing it well, just like a flicker of, wait, did I imagine that? Like, it's subtle. It's creepy. And I just want to talk about also Yoshistradovsky's, like, he's nailing the I'm fine, but maybe I'm not face. It's good. This conversation, I loved every part of this conversation. This first part where Rand calls Moraine out on everything. Like, the attack in episode 1, you allowed it. The Lanfear Egwene trap, you knew that was going on. You were trying to drive a wedge between us, and it works. And Moraine, no deflections. No Aes Sedai word games. Just raw honesty. Communication. Growth. 20 years, or I don't know, maybe closer to 30 years, I have waited for Rand to say this out loud. You're not using me. You're trying to help me win. Rant mode activated to every person who's ever argued Moraine's just using Rand. What in the actual fuck do you think the last battle is? She's not using him to fetch her groceries. She's trying to fucking save the world. And guess what? So is he. If Moraine is using Rand to win Tarman Gaiden, then Rand's using her right back. She's got the Aes Sedai knowledge. He's got the power to burn reality to ash. This isn't manipulation. It's a partnership between two people who know the stakes. And Rand finally gets it. He needs someone who will kill him if he turns. He wants that safety net. It's not manipulation. It's trust. Anyway, this scene was perfection. Like, print it, frame it, shove it in the face of every single person I've argued with on the internet about this. This, right here. Rand says thank you, and Moraine, stone cold Moraine, is about to cry. You understand what that means? Her entire life's work, the mission that derailed her life, her relationships, her everything. And she finally gets this acknowledgement, not as a manipulator, not as a puppet master, as someone who chose the light. Until the show, I wasn't never really a Moraine stan. Like, I liked her, but whatever. But even so, I have spent decades just furious on her behalf because everyone treats her like she's got some sort of secret agenda when her goal has always been glaringly simple. Everyone in the books, and even tons of people in this fandom, treat her like some Machiavellian monster when her only crime is basically giving a shit. Whatever. She doesn't want power. She doesn't want glory. She wants the light to win. That's it. That's her whole deal. Win the last battle. No schemes, no power grabs. Just one woman against the literal Dark One. And now, after 20 years, actually 20 years of her life, 30 years of mine, 30 years of reading these books. Good Lord, after all that time, she gets gratitude. That lip quiver, that look at her face, it's everything, and I feel it in my soul. And then Moraine says it. She says, good luck, Rand al'Thor. Full name, no Dragon Reborn, no sheep herder, just Rand al'Thor. And I feel like this is 100% a callback to Varen's question from episode 1 of, like, do you believe in Rand al'Thor? Back then, Moraine didn't have an answer because she didn't. She believed in the dragon, she knew they needed this dragon, but the boy... Now, after everything, she's not just trusting prophecies, she's trusting Rand. That's huge, because Rand al'Thor, this stubborn but kind, terrified kid from the Two Rivers, he's the wild card here. The dragon is going to fight the last battle. He has to fight the last battle, but Rand could have been a monster. He could have been a tyrant. He could have been another Luce Theron. But Moraine looks at him now and thinks, no, he's better than that. And that's the difference between the Dragon Reborn and Rand al'Thor. One is a weapon, the other is a person. Flawed, but fighting like hell to do the right thing. And Moraine, she finally believes in him. Ugh, Swan. Politically disastrous Swan. This obviously was the plan all along. Get all of these people and get her loyalists out of the tower so that Elaida can stage her coup. And, like, look at these. The Red Aja, they're just vibing by a campfire like they're at a s'mores party. I don't know. There's not a gentling the dragon emergency in sight. And I know Swan had to fail. The plot demands it. But, it was dumb. She knows exactly where Rand is. Or at least she knows where he was a couple of days ago. He was in the waste. There's no way the sisters could have reached him in this short amount of time. So why not call a meeting of the hall early, make that speech that Lyanna suggested, pack the hall with your allies, anything but sending your A-team on a wild Trollic chase while your enemies are sharpening their knives. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, Varen. Varen delivered the intel, and Varen is here in this part here. Varen has a PhD in suspicious timing. Okay, some of these lines, I'm pretty sure they're straight out of the books, like the hall convened not an hour ago. Pretty sure that's a verbatim quote. But there is a change. In the books, Elaida and her squad barge into Swan's study. Here, this happens in the hall, and I guess it's Swan who does the barging. But just like in the books, they barely scrape together the minimum number of sisters needed to depose her, which, FYI, makes this all illegitimate, because Alviarin here, Black Aja. And the Tower's bylaws, pretty sure they explicitly say Dark Friends can't vote on what to eat for lunch, let alone overthrow an Amyrlin. Again, though, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Elaida's list of charges here is crystal clear compared to the books. You hid the dragon so the Tower couldn't control them, boom. No vague betrayal of trust nonsense, just cold, hard treason. It is tighter, it is meaner, and it makes Elaida feel more dangerous instead of petty. And here it is. Swan gets stilled. Book fans are going to remember, I'm pretty sure this happens off screen. 1 minute she's in her study being captured, and the next we see her in the dungeons already having been stilled or severed. But the show gives us the full horrifying spectacle, and I want to talk about how this looks, because it is glorious and it's terrible. It echoes what Loghain's stilling looked, but without the nasty taint swirling in the weaves. It's clean, it's cruel, it's elegant in its brutality. Big deviation, though. In the books, Lyanna gets stilled, too. Here, she's just shielded over there, and with how this episode ends, I'm worried they might still her later and give parts of Swan's arc to her, which I hate that idea. I hate it. I hope I'm wrong about that, because Lyanna is a fantastic character in her own right, and her story is parallel to, but different from, Swan's. First, Liandrin's hair. Fabulous. Second, holy shit, she knows. That little, oh fuck face when she clocked Moggy? Yes. I'm guessing she's finally connected the dots, like, my servant has black fingertips and creepy vibes. Could it be Satan's accountant? And yeah, here's where my hype train derailed into Fantasyland. For one glorious moment here, I thought Nynaeve was going to face both of them, Liandrin and Megideon. Imagine a girl taking on a Forsaken and her traitorous ex-mentor. The drama, the stakes, this genius. Megideon is the weakest Forsaken, always bottom of the evil totem pole. So, how does a spider climb? By eating everyone above her. She's already ganked Samael this episode. I think we'll see that in a minute. And RIP to our discount Napoleon. But now, Liandrin's offering herself up as the perfect minion. Ambitious enough to be useful, but never strong enough to challenge her. Here's some deep lore, like a deep cut that I know show only fans don't know, and a lot of book only fans don't know either. Moggy here was basically a hedge fund manager, I guess. I don't know what to call it. In the Age of Legends, Robert Jordan's notes say she worked in risk assessment and, investment. So she's always calculating the safest, the sneakiest moves. So Liandrin's pitch here is mathematically perfect. I'll be your loyal attack dog, just don't make me powerful enough to bite you. Is the show going to dive into Moggy's spreadsheet villainy? Probably not. But this strategy is 100% on brand. And can I just say, I want Liandrin to become a Forsaken. I want her to get that promotion. I do want Nynaeve to beat her, but I want her to get this promotion at some point. I'm Team Light forever, but let her try. Let her get it. Okay, I picked this clip pretty carefully because Samael's corpse suspended on a web of his own blood. That is, it's next level. The close-up that I am not showing here is disgusting in the best way possible. It is like a Dark Friends idea of modern art. Now, is he dead? Dead? I mean, unless the Dark One's into avant-garde taxidermy, I'm gonna say yes. R.I.P. Samael, you were the world's most boring war criminal. Lanfear is eating. Like, Rafe Judkins said that he and Natasha O'Keefe, our glorious Lanfear here, use a drag queen meter for her performance. And this scene, it's got to be 11 out of 10, right? The stance, the outfit, the energy. She's not just acting. She is hosting the Dark One's drag race. Now, show-only fans might wonder, is this outfit canon? Honestly, no clue. I barely register costume descriptions in the book, which is hilarious, I know, given how much I analyze the show's costumes. But what I do know, Age of Legends fashion was wild. A case in point, the first book prologue describes Ishamael, remember Ishamael, wearing thigh-high boots with a silver fringe. So Lanfear's look here is pretty tame. The Forsaken didn't just break the world, they broke fashion rules first. Raven asks here if she's ready to kill Rand, and she says yes, and I don't believe her for a second. Like, if Rand crooked his finger, she'd come running. I'm reading it as pure scorned ex energy. It's bluster and betrayal, but her obsession, it's still bone deep. But am I alone in this? Like, I'm pretty sure book Lanfear would take him back if he asked, and show Lanfear has shown that same level of obsession. She's like that toxic ex who burns your clothes but keeps your toothbrush at her place just in case. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Am I alone in this? Okay, full confession. I watched this scene twice before I realized what Moraine was even doing here. Like, is she just making a fancy nightlight? I'm not sure what she's doing. What is she channeling? But I finally figured it out on my third watch, because apparently I need to frame by frame everything. She's creating this protective dome around Alcair Dal, so no attacks are getting through while Rand's doing his big speech. Did you get this immediately? Did I just fail a perception check? I don't know. I just missed this entirely. Alcair Dal here looks not like I pictured it. I'm not very good at visualizing. I've said this all the time, but in my head, it's stone. Like, it's a massive stone amphitheater with, like, ledges and stuff carved into the rock. The whole 9 yards. Why? Because Book Alcair Dal has acoustics. You can speak normally and be heard by anybody in the bowl. But here we get sand. So much sand. And I admit, I have no idea if it's actually described as stone in the book. Someone fact check me in the comments, but doesn't sand muffle sound? And yet they kind of kept that crucial acoustic detail. Couladin yelling like he's overcompensating here, while at the beginning at least Rand speaks calmly. That contrast, it's like, that's book accurate. He doesn't need to yell, but Couladin yells and Rand speaks in a normal voice. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. That blood trail leading to Swan's body, ugh. In the books, I don't think we ever see explicit torture scenes, but there is a heavy implication with Swan. Like, Eliada had questions, and Swan reflects later with pride the small things that she managed to withhold. Heavy implications, and this visual storytelling, it's a good adaptation of that. Like, just like in the books, they're showing us just enough, letting that crimson streak here speak volumes. Again, look how empty the hall is. They barely scraped together enough sitters to make this legal. Air quotes are mandatory. It is depressingly accurate. Elida's whole coup ran on technicalities and the absolute bare minimum. The dark friends in the room must be so proud. Taking another victory lap. Called it. Elida's wearing gold over red. The gold is the traditional Amyrlin attire in the show. Swan always wore it as a neutral color, but that red, that's Elida's tell. The Amyrlin is supposed to be of all Ajas and none. But Elaida, well, she's red Aja first, Amyrlin second, and it's such a power move. It's like if the Pope showed up to Easter Mass wearing a Protestant suck t-shirt under his robe. There's pettiness. It's a lack of decorum. It's absolute certainty that she's right. Elaida might be the worst, but damn if she isn't committed to the bit. And then Elaida corners Swan and demands the truth. In the books, there's this brilliant loophole that when you're stilled, your oath rod vows break. That means Swan could have lied here. spun some glorious bullshit to protect Moraine. Like, imagine Swan, broken, but still fighting, using the tower's own ignorance against them, a defiant middle finger in her darkest hour. But no, instead, we get a goddamn eulogy. And look, it's beautiful. Swan declaring her love, swearing she'd die for Moraine. It's romantic as hell. But here's the problem. It's answering a question Elaida didn't ask. Elaida asked, where is Moraine? And Swan's like, oh, let me tell you about my feelings instead. It's deflection. It's not defiance. And worse, it feels like the show thinks that this is a triumphant capstone to their romance. But it's not. It's a funeral speech. And because Swan dies in this episode, which I am mad about, this isn't a bittersweet moment. It's the writers nailing the fucking coffin shut. And look, I get it. Drama, stakes, whatever. Love costs, everything, blah, blah, blah. But from what I can see here, Swan's death doesn't serve the story. It serves shock value because Book Swan had miles to go. Book Swan got to be a fucking revolutionary after Stilling. The best parts of Swan's story happen after this. Here in the show, she is reduced to a tragic love interest. Alright, just want to take a moment to appreciate how Lanfear's weaves look like she's conducting some sort of physics experiment. They are precise, they are calculated. It's like she's writing equations in the air. It's so distinct from the wild, almost organic way modern Aes Sedai channel. It does look different from Latra or Ishi's weaves, but it has that same precision. Like, the one power isn't magic to her, it's science. Which, for Lanfear / Mirren, that is perfect. This visual storytelling, it is chef's kiss. It screams Age of Legends without a single line of exposition. It is a subtle but brilliant way to show how much knowledge has been lost. The Age of Legends didn't just have stronger channelers, they had better textbooks. Couladin here basically accusing the Aes Sedai, Moraine, of giving Rand his tattoos. And yeah, that's straight from the books. There's just a constant suspicion that Rand is a puppet on an Aes Sedai leash. And what's interesting is, like, even after Moraine is gone, Rand's inner circle is still mostly women who can channel. And they're not controlling him, but the world assumes that they are, because in the Wheel of Time, powerful women are automatically distrusted. I'm just gonna say it louder. For the folks in the back, the Wheel of Time is not a fucking matriarchy. It's a world where women have power, but are presumed guilty of wielding it wrong. A man with a sword, he's noble, he's powerful. A woman with magic, well, obviously, she's a manipulative bitch and she's scheming. It's not equality. It is systematic misogyny with a side of sparkles. Okay, so this is different from the books, and I'm kind of on the fence about it, because, okay, here in the books, Rhuarc does step in here and begs Rand not to speak the truth about the Aiel's past. And it does land a bit, but in the books, all of the clan chiefs at this moment, who are here anyway, acknowledge Rand as the Karakarn here, after he said the truth. Because even if they hate it, they know that it's the truth. And it makes the Shido split worse. Because anyone who follows Couladin and the Shido, in this point, they're not just misled. They are willfully denying what they know is true. They are choosing not to face the shame of their history. But here, aside from Rhuarc, we get silence. In the books, they heard the truth, and they chose to reject it. Here, they might genuinely believe Rand's lying. The rest of the chiefs don't say anything. And that changes the emotional calculus of their defiance. Rand here yelling, "You must face who you are, oath breakers." That line, chills. It's a show-only change, but it's brilliant. In the books, the Way of the Leaf revelation is devastating, but there's no oath framing, just cultural shame. But the oathbreaker part here cuts deeper. It is a slur. It is a brand, and it works. But then it immediately gets weird. The Aiel suddenly, like, split down the middle into two groups pointing spears at each other like they're reenacting West Side Story Threefold Land Edition. What is happening? The Shido are, like, mixed in with them. This can't be a clean us versus them divide. Why would calling them oath breakers make them turn on each other like that. It's like, I guess if we're all Oathbreakers, then you're the problem over there for some... I don't know. I think the show's going for a visceral, chaotic reaction. The Aiel's identity crumbling in real time. But the blocking, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's confusing. It looks like someone yelled, fight, and half the room forgot who the enemy was. And later, like, the Shido do peel off. Like, all the people in black there, they do peel off on their own. But the moment, for me, was it's visual chaos without narrative clarity. I loved the emotion of Rand's accusation, but the Aiel reaction feels like somebody edited out some connective tissue. Like, it's just assume they're having a big stabby feel about it. Like, I don't know what is this? What is this? So, Melindhra literally dies, gave up her immortal soul, her hope of rebirth, to give Lan the element of surprise. She lets Lanfear think he's dead so he can ambush her. And what does this man do? Stand directly in front of her, slowly unleash his apparently very noisy sword like it's a Broadway reveal, and dares him to notice her. Why, dude? He had one job. Stab her first. Pose later! And yes, it technically works. Like, Moraine grabs the Sicarnan while Lanfear's distracted, but come on. Lan could have just materialized behind her like a ninja and ran her through. No warning, no dramatic clanging of metal, just, oops, look, there's a sword in your back. And yes, I know, before anybody says, we saw that last season with Moraine. Okay, fair, but you know what's better than one surprise stabbing? Two! Especially when the second one's set up by sacrifice. Okay, here, Lanfear tries to heal herself with the true power. And, okay, we saw her do that, actually, last season, after Moraine stabbed her. In the books, Aes Sedai, and in the show as well, you can't heal yourself with the one power. I've always thought of it like trying to lift yourself up off the ground. No matter how strong you are, you literally can't do it. But the true power, apparently, they can do that. It's different rules, and I love it as a Forsaken advantage. It makes them feel alien, unstoppable. But this wound does not appear to heal. Like, that look on her face is shock. So I think the show is making it true that power-wrought blades can harm a Forsaken. Still don't think she's dead. Still don't think so. But, yeah, I don't know. She looks shocked here. But this, it made, like, basically I started spiraling in my brain. Because in the books, the Aiel, I think I talked about this last episode, Aes Sedai healing is primitive by Age of Legends standards. It drains a patient's energy so much that you can actually kill someone by healing them if they're too weak. And then Nynaeve rediscovers a better method of healing, probably the original Age of Method technique, honestly, so it doesn't have that flaw. The show hasn't introduced healing fatigue, so I don't know, this is where my brain went. Maybe Nynaeve's big breakthrough with healing will be self-healing, if the writers ever let her do anything cool again. Like, I don't know, just give my girl the arc she deserves. I know that has nothing to do with this scene, but I have so many feelings. So Rand starts weaving here, and they're big weaves, and this scene goes on for much longer than I am showing here. I just want to address the elephant in the room. What exactly is everybody seeing right now? Because the show has established the rules now. You cannot see weaves if you are not a channeler, and even if you're a channeler, you can only see weaves of your own gender. I doubt there are any male channelers in this crowd. Are they just watching Rand do some sort of mystical interpretive dance in the middle of this golden bowl here? Arms waving, intense facial expressions. It's giving, like, this is my drama school final project. And I will also say, in the books, this moment makes sense. He makes the rain to calm down the chaos, like after his big revelation. But here, look, everybody's that's left, they're already calm. They're just standing here. I believe the Shido have actually left by this point. The remaining Aiel are with him. So why are we getting this weather display? Like, is he just showing off, trying to get that sweet Dragon Reborn, Karkarn clout? Like, hey guys, check out my sick cloud skills. It looks cool, but it feels narratively unmoored. Like, they needed to hit this book beat, but they forgot to set up the emotional reason for it. Like, I don't know, in the books, the rain served a purpose. But here, it's just, I don't know, is wet? This. This is how you do this unsettling channeling. As Lanfear draws the true power, you can see the Saw swimming in her eyes. Again, for show-only people, the Saw are these motes, these black motes that float in your eyes, that are like the Dark One's touch. And the way her body contorts as she channels, it's not the graceful movements of Saidar or the forceful gestures of Saidin. It's something else. It's something alien. It's like her body is fighting against the power even as she uses it. It is such a smart visual distinction for the true power, where the one power flows, the true power wrenches. Every time we see Lanfear use it, it turns her into a monster. This is why Swan Sanche is legendary. She is stilled, broken, but unbowed, spitting "I defy you" in Elaida's face like a queen with nothing left to lose. This is the Swan I love. The woman who gets knocked down and digs her nails into the earth to keep crawling forward. She claws her way back from utter ruin, reinvents herself, still fights for the light. No whining, no self-pity. She's all, no power, no tower, no problem. I'm gonna save the world the hard way. Book Swan's post-stilling arc is everything. She is proof that the one power is not the only power. It's will. And that's why this moment gutted me. Because for a moment, for a heartbeat, I thought that the show understood that too. That we'd get warrior Swan, not sacrificial lamb Swan. That her defiance here would be the beginning, not the end. And then, fuck. Okay, first, props where they're due. The visual language of Moraine's oath to Swan here unraveling when Swan dies, stunning. The way it mirrors the oath's appearance in season 1, the callback to being forced to close the Waygate, the way it looks like that, even the way it resembles the water bond weave. It's chef's kiss. The show's consistency with the visual language of the magic, it's flawless. But that's the last nice thing I'm going to say about this, because fuck this change. Fuck it. Fuck it sideways with a rusty spear. Because Swan does not die here in the books. Not even close. She lives all the way to the last battle. She has multiple POV chapters. She rebuilds her life after stilling. She becomes a key player in Egwene's Tower Rebellion. And yes, she dies eventually in the final book, in a moment that frankly always felt a little bit random to me, like Jordan and or Sanderson got to the end and were like, we need casualties, who's expendable, and whatever. But that's kind of the core of why I hate this change. Because this felt like the same. Swan's post-stilling arc is brilliant. She loses everything. Her power, her position, her ability to channel, and yet she keeps fighting. Not out of some grand destiny, but because the world needs saving. She's acerbic, she's stubborn, she's wily as hell, and funny! She's one of the most human characters in the series. And now she's gone. For what? I think the argument is going to be, well, nothing she does is essential to the main plot. And truth be told, as much as I love Swan, I struggled to find something that she does that cannot be either removed or fulfilled by someone else. So the closest I could think of was when she's healed by Nynaeve. But Nynaeve does heal Loghain first, so that's the big one, I think, in most people's eyes. It's the one we can't remove. But for me, Loghain's healing, I should say, is the revelation. Swan's is the emotional payoff. And that's the point. The cool moments, the healing Loghain are neat, but the emotional ones, like healing Swan, are the ones that stick with us. And yes, I also know Moraine's arc last season kind of covered this, thinking that she was stilled and pushing forward anyway. But Swan was actually fucking stilled. It would have been different. It would have shown another kind of resilience. Okay, let me take off my book nerd hat for a second and put on my lesbian hat. Around the time that I first came out, I had signed up for one of those proto Netflix sites. I think it was zip.ca, if I'm Canadian. The ones where they send you DVDs in the mail. I signed up because I wanted to finally finish watching Babylon 5. And I discovered on their website that they had an LGBT section. And I remember scouring it for every piece of lesbian media that I could find. I put them all in my queue. If there was a lesbian in a story, I was going to watch it. But I stopped. I deleted my queue after making it through maybe a third of them. You want to know why? Because I got tired of watching lesbians die. Like 3 out of 4 of them, it'd be like, oh, cool, lesbian, oh, she's dead. Oh, cool, lesbian, oh, fuck, another dead lesbian. Dead lesbians. It's a trope. It's a trope so old that it has tombstones buried under it. So when Rafe Judkins, a gay man alive in the world today, made Swan and Moraine canon lesbians in love, I thought, surely he won't do this. I had conversations with people on my channel, I'm pretty sure on video, like Bree, where we both were like, yeah, no, he's not going to do that because he knows. And then he did. Why did Swan die? It's to give Moraine rage fuel against Lanfear? Maybe, I don't know. But if Moraine dies next season, like in the books, then what was the fucking point? Is it good TV? Maybe, I don't know. It's fucking shocking. I've heard people say it was a bold narrative choice, whatever. I'll wait to see how non-readers react. But as a book fan and a queer woman, this didn't just feel like a bad adaptation choice to me. It felt like a betrayal. I literally told my sister last week that Moraine and Swan were the heart of the show. And now the heart's been ripped out. Why? For a fucking jump scare to make us gasp. And I think, honestly, it was just for the fucking shock value. And I'm sorry, I'm going to keep swearing because I'm fucking tired of it. I'm tired of shock value. I'm tired of sacrifices that don't mean anything. And on a meta note, I am tired of queer stories ending in tragedy just because they're dramatic. So, in a desperate attempt to cope, a friend of mine and I spent way too long brainstorming ways the show could undo this travesty. Here's a rundown, and also why none of them work. First one, Balefire Alviarin into oblivion. Just have anyone, Moraine, Varen, anyone, walk in and Balefire the absolute fuck out of Alviarin before she kills Swan. Problem solved! But the reason this doesn't work is that Alviarin is weirdly load-bearing in the story. She's not a big character, but she's critical. The show has positioned her as Elaida's shadow, but that's much like in the books, right? The towers collapse, the Black Aja scheming, she's the one who's pulling the strings. You can't just delete her without rewriting chunks of the plot. Our second theory, make Swan a hero of the Horn. Okay, fine, she's dead, but what if she comes back as a hero of the Horn? Loyal might qualify, and why not her? And then Moraine could be visiting with her in Tel'aran'rhiod. That's where their love shack is anyway, right? But, Swan was a politician, not a warrior. The Horn calls legendary heroes, people who lived and died by the sword, or I guess in Loyal's case, the hammer. I want other heroic feats to get you to the Horn, to be a hero of the Horn, personally. That's just my own opinion. But Swan was... Nothing we saw her do in the show, I think, warrants her being a hero. She's brilliant, but she's not Birgitta. Also, it'd feel cheap. If everyone gets a Horn resurrection, death stops mattering. Our third possibility was Eleida's Finn bracelet does something. Like, maybe that bracelet does something and yoinks Swan's soul into the Finn realm, and then maybe Moraine something rescues her later when she gets finned. This one fails, though, because maybe and something are doing heavy lifting here. We have no idea how the Finn work in the show yet, and quite frankly, even in the books, we don't really know how the Finn work. This is pure copium. Also, why the Finn don't really collect souls? They bargain. What would be their motivation to take Swan? Like, their motivation for taking Moraine and Lanfear was that they could channel. Why would they take us? I don't know. The cold truth is, I don't think there's a fix. The show made its choice. Swan's dead. Moraine's traumatized. I'm traumatized, and I'm begging the writers to prove me wrong next season. But for now, why? Why, Rafe? Why? Okay, so Lanfear, a ruthless Forsaken, a woman who just scheming the world's destruction here, just stands here while Moraine slowly pulls a sword out of her gut. Like, it's longer than I'm actually showing here. The scene is a long scene, and she does nothing. What? I think we're supposed to believe that she's shocked that Moraine has this in her, but come on. She could have Balefired Moraine into next week, or It's Balefire. I guess she could have Balefired her into what, last week? But whatever, she's still just standing here waiting. Like, is it a turn-based RPG? I don't know. It's cool to see Moraine rage, but Lanfear's sudden incompetence is jarring? Like, did she forget that she can channel? Even the true power? Was she too busy thinking, damn, she's kind of hot when she's angry? Like, I don't know, that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know what she's doing here. Again, props where it's due. Lanfear crawling away, clutching at her neck, that mirrors one of Moraine's visions from the rings, and that, again, chef's kiss. But I can't pretend that this wasn't weird. Lanfear went from unstoppable Forsaken to forgot how to channel for like 20 seconds real quick. She barely throws up a shield. It's like, yeah, she's forgetting that she can warp reality, and then poof, she travels away. And the traveling effect is cool. I don't know where she's traveled to. I paused it to stare and try and figure out what it is. There's stonework here, and stonework always makes me think Tar Valon, but I don't think so because that stonework looks wrong. I don't know. Where do you think she went? This. This is why Rosamund Pike deserves all of the awards. That raw, visceral scream. The way she crumples. It's my heart too, Moraine. It's all of us who just watched Swan die for no fucking reason. I can nitpick choices all day, but I will never fault the acting in this show. Rosamund Pike delivers grief like a knife to the gut. No words, just pure, unfiltered agony. For a second, I forgot Moraine's an Aes Sedai. She's just a person shattered by loss. Ruark here finally does declare that Rand is the Karakarn after the magical rain display. And that is what bugs me here. Because in the books, it's the truth about the Aiel's past. That is what proves Rand's claim. The chiefs know instantly because only the Karakarn would dare speak that shame aloud. And only somebody who's been through Iridian would know. But here, they all wait for a weather report to confirm it. In the books, the moment Rand reveals the Aiel's past, the clan chiefs know. And they declare it then. The truth is what proves it, not a magic show. By making the declaration here hinge on the rain, it gives the Shido, I guess who aren't even here, but it gives any doubters an out. They're like, yeah, sure, he can channel, but does that make him the Karakarn? It kind of weakens the weight of the revelation, I think. Book logic gave them no wiggle room. They had to choose denial. Show logic, they get plausible doubt. And I think I'm leaning on liking the book version more, but I don't know. I'm on the fence. What do you think about this? Do you like the plausible doubt or not? This voiceover is canon. It's not just like a random voiceover. It's a ripped straight from the opening of A Crown of Swords. I think it's credited to Kiera Termendel's quote-unquote, this is like from the books, much disputed translation of the prophecies, and it's word for word. Almost. So this is what Moraine says here. For the land is one with the dragon, and he is one with the land. Soul of fire, heart of stone. In pride he conquers, forcing the proud to yield. He calls upon the mountains to kneel, and the seas to give way, and the very skies to bow. Pray that the heart of stone remembers tears, and the soul of fire, love. But the show cut the first 2 lines of this prophecy. In the books, the prophecy begins with the lines, there can be no health in us, nor anything grow. And then continues, for the land is one with the dragon, and he is one with the land. It's word for word, as it does in the show. But it begins with those ominous lines. There can be no health in us, nor any good thing grow. The 4 connects those lines. For the land is one with the dragon. The show cutting those 2 lines, that's not an accident. That opening is dark. It frames everything that follows as inevitable suffering. The dragon's rebirth isn't just power. It's corruption. The land rots with him. By leaving that out, the show is, I don't know, softening the blow. It's not a warning anymore. It's a rallying cry. The show wants us to focus on Rand's soul of fire. I guess, not the ruin that comes with it. But for book fans, like, those missing lines, they kind of scream at me. Like, they howl with everything that was unsaid. So we end with Nynaeve, Elayne, Matt, and Min hopping onto another boat. And if you watched my live reaction, you saw me start to panic at this moment. And look, I have to give the show props for pacing because I had not realized how late in the episode we were. Like, the tension had kept me hooked, and before I knew it, we were here at almost the credits. While I hated killing Swan for all the reasons I've already talked about and will talk about again, this, I think, is the worst change of all. And let me just be crystal clear. This isn't just about me being a Nynaeve stan, although I am. It's just, they have systematically been dismantling her character across 2 seasons. She needed a fucking moment of awesome in this episode, and it couldn't be about saving her own ass. She needed to do something that actually helped the mission. Because let's be real, she failed the mission. And she's been failing the mission for 2 whole seasons now. For those of you who watch these videos, despite my spoiler warnings, I'm just going to hit you with some Nynaeve Almira highlights from the first 4 books, which are the ones that these 3 seasons have been based on. She heals Avienda's gravely wounded cousin. She balefires a Myrddraal into oblivion without a Balefire Rod. She punches the ability to channel out of a Black Aja sister with Egwene's assist, or maybe she's Egwene's assist. I don't know. She punched a woman who could channel, and then after she punched her, she couldn't channel anymore. She leads Egwene's daring rescue from the Seanchan, righteous fury and tender comfort in one incredible moment. The Mama Bear in full glory. And then, in what should have happened this episode, she solo faces down Moghedien in the Panarch's palace and wins. She fucking wins. In the show, she gets Egwene captured by Liandrin, by trusting Liandrin. That's her fault. She gets a warder killed and an Aes Sedai captured in Falma. She does nothing useful at all in the season finale, but of season 2, to help rescue Egwene. And then in this episode, she finds the Idom and then literally hands it to the Black Aja. That last one guts me, because in the books, her presence in this mission is what guarantees them victory. Here, they'd have been better off without her. The Black Aja couldn't have found the Idom without her. They didn't know what it looked like. Her greatest contribution here is their greatest liability. The mission would have been better if Nynaeve had just fucking stayed home. That's not just a change. It's character sabotage. I know. They came out swinging in season 1 with Nynaeve, like saving the day left and right. I mean, twice, but that's left. That's right, I guess. And I have been mostly on the show's side for 2 seasons, giving them leeway with her block, her powerlessness, all that. I accepted the show cutting so many of her awesome moments. In fact, I defended it because, A, I know we only have time for so many awesome moments and we have to divide them between all of their characters, but also B, I thought they were building to a moment that would happen in this episode. The Panarch's Palace was supposed to be her breakout moment, where the woman who braids her anger like a weapon finally unleashes it to save them all. Instead, we got nothing. Just her boarding a ship. Mission unaccomplished because she failed, while Liandrin walks off with the Idom because of her. This isn't just about missing a cool scene. It's about character assassination. Nynaeve isn't just struggling anymore. She's stagnant. 2 seasons of she'll get there is too fucking long. We've waited 2 fucking seasons for Nynaeve to stop being handcuffed. 2 seasons of her power being this Chekhov's gun that never fires. And if we get more seasons, maybe she'll finally get her due. She broke her block this episode, whatever. But I'm scared. I'm scared because for most viewers, I think it's going to be too late. Especially with the years that we wait in between seasons. It may be 1 or 2 years in the characters' lives, but given the rate with which this show drops its seasons, it could be half a fucking decade in real time. And I worry that the damage is done. The audience's patience has limits. I've seen it. I've seen people posting it. My own sister doesn't understand why I like Nynaeve. They've done my girl dirty. They spent 2 years establishing Nynaeve as the person who fucking fumbles the ball when it matters. When talking about this episode with a friend of mine, I said, if we don't get more seasons, I'm going to riot. And he was like, you'd riot anyway. And he's not wrong. But it's different. If we end on this, with Nynaeve failing, with her awesomeness denied, I am going to be beyond pissed. If we got a win, a moment of glory, and then the show ended, through no fault of their own, whatever, I'd still be sad. I would riot, whatever, but I'd be sad, but I could still feel like they did our characters proud. But this, this ain't it. Because more than anything, Nynaeve deserved to shine in this episode. She deserved to be the hero like she is in the books. And the fact that they took that away from her, I'm speechless. I'm just going to talk about this briefly. The last line here, pray that the soul of fire remembers love, and they show Egwene. I think this was supposed to be poignant, but by this point in the episode, every single time I've watched, even when I was watching to take notes, I can barely think because I'm so upset and angry. But I think we're meant to get from this that, and it's true in the books, Egwene, I mean, all of the women in Rand's life are essential and help him remember who he is and help him overcome the darkness that threatens to overwhelm him. So that, I think, is what we're going for here. The final thoughts. And let me just say, be clear, stopping to take notes like I do for these breakdowns did help me. It helped me remember all the things that I loved in this episode. But for me, that almost makes it worse. Because it's so frustrating then that despite what I loved, what I'm left with is this taste of ash in my mouth. Because of what we lost. What we lost. Swan Sanche. She's heart and soul. She's not load-bearing, but she's not just flavor either. She is soul, she's substance. The woman who makes the tower feel alive and who gave Moraine's mission weight. And now she's gone. For shock value? For drama? And if it was to appease the people whining about the show's wokeness, then that's even worse. Those people aren't coming back. You can't win them over by killing a lesbian, yet another fucking dead lesbian, and going, see, look, now the show's gonna be all about the boys. You can't appease purists who hate the concept of adaptation. They'll just move the goalpost, like the diverse cast, the remaining queer representation, the fact that the show isn't a carbon copy of the book version they've each constructed in their own individual minds. All you've done is betrayed the fans who loved what made this story special. The show had something special with Swan and Moraine, and now it's gone. And let's be real, if the writers thought, well, we've got Avienda and Elayne, now one lesbian couple swapped for another. No! That's not how this works! Avi and Elayne had one night together. They don't have the depth, the history, the love that Swan and Moraine built over decades. And if they're going poly with Rand, which I suspect they will, and I like that as a concept, then he, still just by virtue of who he is the sun that they're going to orbit. That doesn't feel like representation. It feels like checking a box. But here's the thing. I'm not just upset that a lesbian died. And in fact, that's not even the reason I'm mostly upset. Like, on my list of reasons why I'm upset about Swan's death, it goes, love Swan as a fucking character. 2, love Moraine and Swan as a couple. 3, fuck, another dead lesbian. Rafe Judkins always said that the show would have changes, and I've accepted and actually enjoyed most of them. But he also said that he'd protect the heart and spine of the story. And Swan, in my opinion, is part of that heart. Not just a small part, she's a significant part of that heart. And now that's gone. And not just changed, like she's erased. The best part of Swan's story takes place after her stilling. The show has cut her off at the... Not even at the knee, they fucking cut her off at the ankles. And then Nynaeve. I have defended the show's choice to hamper her. I trusted that they were building to something. And now I feel like a fool. 2 full seasons of her being useless. 2 seasons of her failing. If we do get a season 4, it's going to have been, I guess, probably 6 years since Nynaeve was allowed to be awesome. And I'm not sure if any payoff can justify that wait. Again, I've already seen it in the reactors. I've seen it in posts of show-only watchers just being annoyed and frustrated by Nynaeve, and I don't think we can win them back. It's too late. I worry that it's too late. Anyway, I hope I'm wrong. It's too late to recover it, because, the truth is, the most important thing in any story, to me, is the characters. I've said that a million times. To see characters I love robbed of their arcs, that hurts. Like, I think back to last episode with Loyal's death. It made me sad, but it didn't hurt this way because while we all love Loyal, right? He doesn't have much of an arc. He comes into the story already perfect. And when the story ends, he's still perfect. I want to be wrong. I want season 4 to come back and make me eat these words. I want Nynaeve to have her moment, and for the audience that has like written her off completely as a character, don't even remember her name because they can't give a shit about her right now, I want them to be won back. And I want Swan's death to fucking mean something other than, woo, jump scared all the book fans. Or, let's be real, what I really want is for her not to be dead somehow. And I want the show to prove that this was part of a plan. But right now, it doesn't feel like a plan. It feels like sacrificing 2 incredible women, one for shock, and one for, I don't even know, subversion, I'm not sure. And then hoping that we're not going to notice the hole that they leave behind. I'm still trying to hope. I'm hopeful, but I'm not feeling optimistic. I'm actually less excited about the show, just in general. And that's the real tragedy here. Anyway, those are all of my thoughts. I know you're all going to leave me your thoughts in the comments below. Yeah, let me know. And if you like my content and you want to support me, I also have a Patreon that is linked in the description below. As I always say, thank you so much to my patrons for your continued support. Sorry this ends on a downer. I don't want to. I want to be happy. I want to be excited, but I'm not. Anyway, thank you so much. I just trying to think how to... this is the aftertaste the show left me with. Whatever. Okay, I'm going to end the video now. So please like, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.